Hi, my name is Erica, and I am pleased to share my experience with you as I have been with Vincent Davis Law Firm, and they have helped me tremendously in this saddening time in my life and stressful time. And Vincent has shown kindness and compassion to me that has helped so much to get through these days and minutes and hours of being sad and just dealing with paperwork in the courts. And
Good morning. Welcome to CPS Office Hours. I'm Attorney Vince Davis, and this live stream is for every grandmother, every auntie, every uncle, every grandfather, every relative sitting at home heartbroken with CPS places your grandchildren with strangers. If you've been told we're working on it, or it takes time, or we just need to finish the paperwork, this show is for you. Because there's the truth, or here's the truth. If you don't have custody within 1 week of asking and CPS, then CPS is stalling. They're not planning to place the child with you. They're planning to terminate and destroy your family connection. Let's talk about what you need to do right now and why it starts with getting a lawyer. Part 1. The call that changes everything. The day you get the call, your daughter is in trouble, CPS has your grandbaby. You step up immediately. They can stay with me. The social worker seems polite. Nice, in fact. Let me check with my supervisor. But then, nothing. You call, no answer. You call again. You leave a voicemail, no response. You wait. Then you email, no reply. You're told, we're evaluating, be patient. It's time for a reality check. The clock is ticking against you. If the social worker wanted you to have these children, you'd have the children. Part 2. What the law actually says. California Welfare and Institutions Code, Section 361.3. And there are like statutes in your state. Quote, preferred consideration shall be given to a request by a relative of the child for placement. Preferential means first in line, not that we'll think about it. The court must consider relatives before foster placement becomes long-term. Social workers must document why they didn't place with you. And it must be based on safety concerns, not personal preferences, not personal opinions, and they can't stall. But they never tell you, do they? They never tell you that unless you get a lawyer. Part 3. How CPS stalls relatives, the silent red flags. We're waiting for your fingerprint results. They never started it in the first place, or they have the results and they're just stalling. It's 2025. You can get results almost instantaneously on fingerprints. Here's another one. We're checking your home, but they haven't scheduled to come by. How could they be checking your home? Here's another one. We need to hear back from the placement committee. There's no such placement committee. Translation. They're buying time just to justify leaving the child where they put him first. in the strange foster care home. The longer the child is in foster care, the harder it is to remove them. A lot of people don't accept that. A lot of people don't believe that, but it is true. Part 4, what you must do within 1 week. If you don't have this child within 1 week, file a JV 285. Go ahead and Google the form. You can get it free off the internet. File it with the court. Serve it upon all the attorneys on the case. A JV 285 is a relative information form. Submit it to the court immediately and give copies to the social workers as well. Number 2, send a written request to the CPS office. I would email it to the social worker and I would mail it certified return receipt requested. Number 3, I would call the social worker's supervisor and document the call. I would also email and mail her the JV 285. Number 4, unfortunately, for most of you, I would retain an attorney, someone who knows how to file a motion for placement with the judge in the case. The judge is the ultimate decision maker of where this child will be placed, not the social worker. Social workers only make recommendations. They do not make the final decision. That is the judge's decision. I filed emergency motions to place kids with grandparents within 72 hours, but only because the relatives had a lawyer. You know, if this is your situation, you've been waiting more than a few days, call my office. We file motions for grandparents and grandmothers for custody all across California. Don't wait for their permission from the social worker. Demand your rights as a relative for placement. My telephone number is below, right-hand corner, 888-888-6582. How to build a legal case for placement. Number 1, create a clean, safe, child-friendly home environment. Next, gather your documents and your evidence. Your lease or your mortgage statement, your utility bills, proof of income, your driver's license, letters of support from school, church, or community, friends and family members. Take pictures of your home, the outside, the inside, every room, including the kitchen and the bedrooms and the living spaces, the bathrooms, the yard where the children will play. And just to make sure, enroll in an online parenting course or trauma-informed care training. And if your grandchild has some type of special medical need, like asthma, take some training course online. Or if any other type of medical need, take some training course online. I can't tell you how many times social workers have made the excuse, well, the child has a certain type of medical need and the grandmother doesn't know how to take care of that need. So learn, so they can't use that as an excuse. Remember, every piece of paper is evidence the court can use to place the child with you, despite what the social worker says. Part 6, if the child is already in foster care, time is your enemy. The longer the child bonds with the foster home, the harder the move. I tell people this all the time. And for whatever reason, it doesn't sink in. People think that this is just a normal case like a criminal case. You can buy time, you can delay, it doesn't matter. It's like a civil case. You can buy time, you can delay. It doesn't matter that much. In these cases, time is your enemy. The longer a child is in a foster care, the stronger the bond becomes between the foster parent and the child. There is an emotional bond, a psychological bond, a physical bond that is developing every day the child is with the foster parent. So what do you need to do? You need to file a motion for placement. You need to request visitation rights immediately. You need to appear at the next court hearing with legal counsel. Judges cannot act if you are not in the case. Get in the case. Get loud. Get legal. Get noticed. Part 7. When CPS says you're, quote, not approved, unquote, they may bring up your past, old criminal records, CPS reports from decades ago, minor issues blown out of proportion. What do? You dispute the basis in writing. You file an appeal or denial through county grievance or state hearing processes. File for placement hearings with declarations of fitness. Here's a tip. Every denial can be challenged if it was based on a vague or irrelevant information. I want to tell you a story that I just met with a grandmother who was denied for maybe 2 years of placement of 2 grandchildren. And she didn't know that she had to go to court to get the children placed with her. She went through the administrative process of appealing her denial. She appealed her denial by herself and had a 2-day hearing in the Office of Administrative Hearing. She won. She won her denial and reversed the CPS decision that she was not a fit person to have her grandchildren. Unfortunately, the case in the juvenile court continued while she was appealing. And by the time she won her appeal, her grandchildren had already been adopted. You see, that rehearing process is an administrative process, but it can never give you the children. It can only give you the right to be considered to have the children, the grandchildren. The court, and the court alone, decides where to place these children. Part 8, final warning. If you don't act, you may lose the grandchildren forever. Adoption and these cases move fast. They're designed to move fast. CPS builds a case for continuity of placement. They stress the bond that the child develops with the foster parent. If you wait too long, court will say the child has bonded with the foster family and the best interest now supports staying with that foster family. You must show up now or lose them later. If you have any questions for me, post them in the comment section and I'll try to review them before the end of the show. Let me say this, grandmothers, grandfathers, aunts, uncles, you are the backbone of the family, but the law won't hand you your grandchildren, your nieces, your nephews. You have to go claim them. Don't wait for the social worker's blessings. Don't wait for a committee. Don't wait for them to, quote, get back to you. Call me today. Let's get you into court. Let's file that motion. Let's bring your babies home and let's get you in front of the judge so the judge can make the decision and not the social worker. I'm Vince Davis. Let's fight for your family together. Okay, let me see if there's any questions today in the comment section. Okay, from YouTube, Cruel Donick says, good morning, Attorney Davis. Good morning. Okay. Cruel Donick from YouTube says, I have encountered a lot of this behavior circumstances through my experience with California CPS. Okay. Cruel Donick, I hear it every day. I hear it every day. I talk to relatives and grandparents. Christina Reynoso from Facebook. My granddaughter was unjustly adopted in Monterey. Sad face. Happens a lot. That's why I did this video, this topic. I don't think I've ever done a video maybe I have on YouTube, maybe years ago, but I get these calls. I'd say maybe 40% of the calls I get are from relatives, adult relatives, trying to get grandchildren, nieces and nephews, first cousins out of the CPS system, out of the CPS foster homes. And they're having a problem, and they shouldn't be having these problems. I can tell you and speculate all the reasons why they have these problems, but instead of complaining, I think they should do something. They should file the appropriate paperwork, get into court, preferably with a lawyer, and try to get the judge to order that the child is placed with you. I once did a case, this was a couple of decades ago, and I represented a grandmother from New York. She was Jamaican, and I had filed all the appropriate paperwork, and the children were here in a foster home, the grandchildren. And we had a hearing, a mini trial. And I put the social worker on the stand. And during the testimony, at one point, I finally asked the social worker the question. It was a question that I probably shouldn't have asked, but I couldn't help myself. I said, "What's the real reason why you won't place these children with the grandmother?" Now, this is a grandmother. She's Jamaican and she's in New York. The social worker kind of looked around, looked at her attorney and looked around, looked at the judge, and then looked at me and says, "Well, if you really want to know the reason," and I'm paraphrasing what she said because I don't remember exactly what she said, but she said, "If you really want to know the real reason is because she's Jamaican. And everybody knows all Jamaicans are drug dealers." That's what she said. The judge stood up and walked off the bench and walked into his chambers without saying a word. Suffice it to say, I won, and the kids were sent back to New York. Can you imagine? She's Jamaican, and all Jamaicans are drug dealers. That was her reasoning. All right. I don't see any other questions in the comments. My final word is, if you're a relative, grandparent, grandfather, grandmother, aunt, uncle, cousin, and you're trying to get these children out of foster care and placed with you, do something. Go see the judge. Get a lawyer. Give me a call. And maybe I can help you, or maybe I can point you to a lawyer in your area that can help you. All right. I'm Vince Davis. It's Friday. Everyone have a good weekend, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow on office hours at 6:30 a.m. Pacific time. Come with your questions. Stay safe and have a good day. Bye-bye.
I finally feel protected by having Vincent and Dan Knowlton care for me, help me, protect me. And so I'm really grateful for finding Vincent Davis Law Firm.